All right, so back at it, another round. I want to first thank all the new subscribers, all the great comments, so many great comments. Thank you to the people who were contributing new ideas with the comments. Super grateful. I love to hear it. Lots of inspiring, encouraging comments, and some funny stuff too. So thank you for all that, all the participation. Really stoked on it. I've been away a little bit. It's been pretty hectic over here, but I want to get back right into it with more misconceptions, and we'll start off with capital punishment. And I think this ties in to the homosexuality video, which I'm glad I put a trigger warning on that. It seemed like a lot of people were fairly triggered, and I will do a clarification. It is something that's a death-worthy trespass, and as are worshiping other gods, sacrificing to Molech, necromancy, murder, adultery, which is something we've so normalized in society now, and there's almost no penalties for it in society. That's also death worthy. But to enact the death penalty in Judaism, it's very difficult. And this is why. So you need two people that, and I've touched on this before in other videos, but you need two people who witness somebody doing it. So in a case, let's say homosexuality, just because that was such a kind of a touchy subject, let's call it, for a lot of people, it seemed like, especially in Christianity, where it's spoken of much more numerously than it is in Judaism. Judaism, it's in a couple places, and we'll cover that in a clarification video coming up. But you would have to catch two people engaged in homosexuality, like homosexual sex, penetration, and you would have to tell them, two witnesses would have to tell them, who didn't know each other, these witnesses can't have known each other ahead of time, that what they're doing is a death-worthy offense, and warn them. They have to acknowledge the two witnesses and say, we don't care, basically dismiss them completely, and then go about their act, and then those two witnesses have to report them or whatever. So it's almost impossible to do just on the fact of two witnesses not knowing each other. It's super difficult. Small Jewish communities, most people know each other, so they can't really have known each other or been like friends before this. And then, somebody's doing something in private in their house to be able to like call them out on it and catch them in the act and then warn them and have them acknowledge the warning and then do punishment. It's almost impossible. So even for the Christian people out there, they always love to put blood libel on Jews, and we will do probably something about that too, misconception. But it wasn't the Jews. They couldn't find two witnesses. That says it right there in their scripture, that they couldn't find two witnesses that could corroborate the same story. So you have to have these two witnesses, and they have to be able to tell the same story, say they warned the person ahead of time, and they couldn't find that. So that's why the Romans, inevitably, right? Pontius Pilate and the Romans, according to Christian scripture, were who actually killed Jesus. It wasn't the Jews. And so, they reported him to the Romans, but the Romans had their own set of rules. Jewish capital punishment is very difficult to enact, and it's been enacted a handful of times. And now, without the temple and the Sanhedrin, I don't think it can be enacted at all. So in the last 2,000 years, it can't be enacted at all. But even in that time, it's extremely difficult. And that's a real common misconception, because people like to say, oh, well, this is death worthy, and there's so many things. And there are. The list is pretty long of the things that can earn you the death penalty. Even cursing your parents or striking a parent can be the death penalty. It's a long list. But to get those two witnesses, to get all the facts right, to warn them, it's really almost never happened. So that's a really common misconception in Judaism, and it's not something that's been enacted often, almost never. It's super difficult to do because of all the factors involved in making it happen. And so that's how we're going to start it off. We're going to hit a whole bunch of topics this round. And thanks again to everybody who's been getting involved. And let's do this, people. Save the humans.
Trying to be a better man. Oh yeah. Trying to do the best I can. Oh yeah. And I'm gonna do right thing. Do right thing. No matter what they want to say. And I'm gonna still fight for you. Still fight for you.